Blessings and grace, early birds, on this Advent Wednesday, the middle of the last month in 2022. As we continue to trust in the Lord, continue to walk in the Word, and continue to believe God. We're in BiblePlan.org in our Through the Bible in 1 Year, and our Old and New Testament lessons, or rather New and Old Testament lessons. I've been led to sort of read it left to right, so to speak, the present to the past. And we're in Revelation 6, and Psalm 77 and 78. And in Revelation 6, the breaking of the seven seals by the Lamb who was slain. And the imagery, again, it draws on Old Testament texts, both in the history and the prophetic books, the sacrificial lamb and the expiation of sin, as well as the prophetic imagery from books of Zechariah and Daniel, in light of the imagery of the horses and the various symbols of the colors, death, famine, disease, slaughter, the grave and such, the various seals that are broken, and the means by which the martyred are covered and communed with and assured that their suffering is not in vain, and that God is a vindicator of those who have been vanquished. How the wicked's actions and deeds are judged at some point, and that God is a rewarder of those who remain faithful. And thus is the seer's point in Asaph's Psalms roughly 73 to about 83 or so. Asaph, appointed by David as a prayer worship leader and one who ministered prophetically as well. You'll find references to him in First Chronicles 6 and First Chronicles 15 and First Chronicles 16 and Second Chronicles 29. I encourage you to read those passages in your spare time, but also to consider the way in which the psalmist, in conversation and communication with God, reveals the heights and depths of the questions that he has, and is bold enough to come with the heartfelt concerns and issues related to the contradictions that he's witnessing, comparing his life and situation to others and what he sees as the wickedness and the evil around that seems to go unpunished, and the silence of God seemingly, which keeps him questioning and unable to rest. There's a uneasiness about a contradiction between a God who was very evident and active historically, but seems to be silent and dormant presently. And that is problematic. And yet the psalmist, in working through all of this, shows us how transparency with God enables us to see God's revelation of who God is now. That we can't pigeonhole God to what God did historically, but we've got to, with new lenses, see a God doing a new thing and a different thing today. But that the principle of who God is, the way in which God is a promise keeper, and the way in which God vanquishes the wicked and those who are proud, who have a short shelf life, are brought down, but that those who remain faithful have a future and have a foundation that cannot be shaken, regardless of historical circumstances. This is the similarity in the book of Revelation, as we kind of get a glimpse of perhaps a particular person who's suffering in their internal struggle in the book of Psalms. And then there's sort of an overall message to the community at large in book of Revelation. So we see both the personal, internal, as well as the group and the social, the community of faith. Trusting the Lord, seeing that God does keep God's promises, but that suffering is a part of the walk that we as believers will experience. And yet, we also have ultimate hope. And so, beloved, I pray that in this season of Advent, you would constantly expect and experience both the certainty of God's presence, and yet, amidst the uncertainty, know that in unique ways we glance backwards, but we continue to move forward in our faith. For God is constantly doing something different. Sometimes it's even something new, but it's the same God who upholds us and keeps us as we trust in the Lord. I love you. God bless you. And may the Lord keep you, early birds, as you study Revelation 6 and two of the Psalms of Asaph, 77 and 78. May you be encouraged by the living word. Peace and blessings.